Hello and welcome to the stream. If you're joining now, welcome. It's 2 in the afternoon, so good afternoon to you. But if you're watching the recorded broadcast, whenever time you're watching this, hello, welcome, thank you for watching. I hope this will be helpful and informative for you. So just give a few seconds. I think some people are joining the stream. But today we have an interesting focus for you. It's called On Second Thought. We have a few people coming on now. Hello, wonderful Maya students. Good afternoon. Cool. Looks like we have 4 people now joining on. Good afternoon. Five people now. Perfect. Hello, everyone. So if you don't know me, my name is Anthony. I am at the Milan Montenegro School. I'm originally from the US, from Atlanta, Georgia. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, the city famous for Coca-Cola, actually. Atlanta, Georgia is where I come from. So if you are here, let me know. Let me know your name in the chat on the side. Let me know where you're from, where in Italy you are. And very shortly, of course, we'll get started with this focus. Okay. We're up to 7 people now. Let's write a good afternoon greeting to everyone. Hello, everyone. So, we'll get started with this term. The name of the focus is On Second Thought. So, what does that mean? Well, on second thought is a phrase that we use in English. Here we go. We got some answers. Perfect. Rosa. Hi, I'm Rosa from Naples. Wow. Naples, the home of amazing pizza. Laviana. Hi, I'm Laviana from Milan. Oh, okay. Me too. I'm in Milan now as well. Nicole. Hi, I'm Nicole from Ferrara. Nice. So we have a few people from different parts of Italy. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining today. This should be very interesting for you. The focus is called On Second Thought. So I was just describing what that means. Maybe you know already, maybe you don't. But anyway, we use this at the beginning of a sentence. It's a small phrase to say that we have reconsidered something. It's a phrase to start a sentence when you reconsider something. When you think about something again. So originally, maybe your idea, maybe your plan was one thing, but you say, actually, on second thought, I will do this. So here's an example. I'll put in the chat so it will stay there and you can take a look at it, see how we use this realistically. So of course the word mall is the large shopping center, right? I'll drive to the mall. Well, on second thought, I should take the metro. There's a lot of traffic at this hour. So we use the term on second thought to introduce our new decision, to introduce something that we have thought about again, and we reconsidered it. So That's an interesting phrase you can use when you need to change your idea. I changed my idea. So on second thought, in this focus activity, thinking vocabulary, phrasal verbs. Everybody loves phrasal verbs. I love them. I'm sure you love them. There are so many of them. But we're going to work on memorizing a list of them today. Idioms with mind and brain. Okay, awesome. So if there are any questions you want me to stop, answer anything, please let me know in the chat. Please say anything you like in the chat below. And we can have an interesting interaction with this lesson. So don't worry, be happy. Most people know this song, and of course we have a little smiley face on the right of that. Personally, I love the song by Bob Marley that has a similar message. It's like Don't Worry, Be Happy. But most people know the song Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. He says, every little thing is going to be all right. So Bob Marley, one of my favorite songs for sure. Bob Marley's Three Little Birds. When he sings in the chorus of the song, the main section of the song, every little thing is going to be all right. Of course, gonna is going to. So this is a prediction, right? It's going to. So it's a prediction based on sure evidence. So it's a strong prediction. Don't worry, be happy. Everything is going to be all right. Awesome. So we're going to take a look at this paragraph, this reading, and put some of the vocabulary from the right side into the spaces. So the practice of positive thinking is gaining popularity around the world. Positive thinking is a attitude that is based on the something that if you on things you want in life using positive thoughts, then you will receive those things more easily. So if you know the answer, if you know which word you want to put in the space, you can write in the chat which word comes first. So positive thinking is a what? Continuing on, for example, if you desire to be rich, you must, on the money that you already have, and visualize more money coming to you with your something that is in your mind, something that's in your mind. Or if you want to find love, you must change that love is hard to find and use an attitude that love is everywhere. Therefore, the belief is that the more you use something to think about your life, the more positive situations and outcomes you will attract. Interesting philosophy on life. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. For me, I agree. Yeah, I definitely think positive thinking is important. So if you would like to write in the chat the answers, you can. Otherwise, in just a few minutes, I'll start putting the words into the spaces. But also remember, there is a delay from when I ask the question, when you type, and when I receive the answer. A short time in between. while you're doing that, Laviana says one is mental. Boom. Perfect. It's a mental attitude. Yeah. Perfect. Nicole? Yes, exactly. Mental attitude. Now the form of word. Rosa says perspective. Two, perspective. Interesting. Two, is it? The second one. Okay. Interesting idea. Yeah, that could work. But this is an interesting word. It's the word notion, actually. So thank you for your response. But it's the word notion. Sorry. It's notion. Now, what does notion mean? Oh, yeah, notion. The notion is the idea or the concept or a belief. So the mental attitude that is based on the idea or the notion that if you... Okay, Valeria says focus. A few people said focus. Okay, for the next one. Yeah, focus or concentrate. They are similar words, so you can actually use the word focus or concentrate. Either is correct in this case. So focus is not a problem, but concentrate also works. Then we have focus. Again, focus and concentrate is very, very similar. It's basically it's the same thing. Visualize more money. So visualize to keep the image in your mind. More money coming to you with your... So this is something that we use in our mind to think about situations that are not real. We use it to create new things. Very creative people who write books, people who write stories, have a very, very good something. Imagination, perfect. Valeria says imagination, exactly. You must change your next word. So after, we're going to talk about using all these words that we put into a paragraph, using them in different word forms. Yes, 7 is optimism. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is optimism. So that would mean that 6 is perspective. And then optimism. Nice. Yeah, good work, guys. So we're going to talk a little bit about these words, all right? For example, the mind. Talk about using them in different forms. So first we have the word mind. That is the noun, the basically what happens inside of your brain, right? Okay, good. Mental would be the adjective. A mental attitude, a mental problem, a mental issue, or mentally. Mentally would be an adverb. Rosa asks, are concentration and focus interchangeable? Yes. Yes. We can use them both as verbs. I need to focus or I need to concentrate. We can use them both as adjectives. I am focused. I am concentrated. So yeah, most of the time, yes, they're interchangeable. Actually, mostly, yeah, almost always, they're interchangeable. So, 3 different ways we can use the word mind mentally. Some examples of using your mind, the word mind, as a noun. We can use this phrase. What's on your mind? This means, what are you thinking about? What is inside here? What's on your mind? What are you thinking about? Is an example of using mind as a noun. What if we want to use mind as an adjective? Here's another example for you. Physical exercise can improve mental health. So many researchers, scientists, doctors say this. I think it's true. That physical exercise helps your body to stay healthy, but it also helps your mind to stay healthy, to remain active as well. I think it's true. I think we can even make it stronger and say that physical exercise will improve mental health. Now, what if we want to use the word mind or mental as an adverb? Then we can say this. Just as a random example, he wasn't mentally prepared for the challenge. So maybe he prepared himself physically, or he prepared with different equipment, but in his mind he didn't prepare for the challenge, for a test or something, maybe for a competition, anything like that. So the next one is a notion, the next word, which we said a notion was a concept, an idea, or belief. And then we have the word concentrate. We can use concentrate as a verb, and then concentrated as the adjective. And the same goes for the word focus. The same thing. We can use the word focus as a verb and focused as the adjective. Both are regular verbs. And be careful. Be careful with the pronunciation of the word focus. We have to say the O sound. So if you want to keep repeating the word for yourself at home, repeat the word focus. Focus. It's a fo. O. Really emphasize the O sound, because I hear some people saying a different pronunciation and it sounds like a bad word. So one thing to pay attention to is the pronunciation of focused. Okay. Cool. So we've talked about the first 4 words. Next one is the imagination. So the imagination is what is inside your mind. It's not a physical thing, but it's what allows you to create and be creative and imagine things. To imagine is the verb. Next one is perspective. 2 different things we can say. We can say my perspective, or you can say my point of view. So both of these things work in English. We also have the same expression as Italian. We have it in English as well. My point of view. And of course, we use the word perspective in art as well to talk about the depth, making an image picture look like it is 3D. So you can see the depth in the image. Perspective, we call that as well. So, next word we have is optimism. So optimism, the word is actually a noun, talking about the idea or the notion of being optimistic. I'll show you all the word forms of that in the chat as well. So when we learn a word, I like to expand it and show all the different forms of using it. So this helps you to think of examples of putting it into real life sentences to show you how to use these in conversation and to feel more comfortable with them. So optimism is the noun, the idea of the concept of this. An optimist. Are you an optimist? Do you always think positively about something? So the optimist is the person. Optimistic is the adjective. Are you a very optimistic person? And then optimistically would be the adverb. Pretty cool. I know a lot of different grammar stuff, but it's helpful to see the words, to think about them. So I turned on my car, my old car, optimistically hoping it would turn on and that it would work. So as an adverb there. Now, what is the opposite of being optimistic? The opposite of optimism is, I'll give you a minute. Does somebody in the chat below, can somebody write, what is the opposite of optimism? If you know, maybe maybe not. For me personally, I am generally, it depends if I'm optimistic. Or you can tell me in the chat below, are you optimistic about the future? Do you have a good idea of what will happen? In this time, it's hard to be optimistic because there is this virus going around the entire world. So, but it would be good to stay positive and stay optimistic. So I'll give you a little bit of time to respond in the chat. Rosa says pessimism. Exactly. Perfect. So, like we did before, as you see the words, you should know the forms of them, I'm sure. We have pessimism, the concept of it. A pessimist is a person. Pessimistic, the adjective. Pessimistically, the adverb. Okay. So also you can write in the chat, how would you describe yourself? Are you generally optimistic or generally pessimistic? Or are you in the middle somewhere? I'm usually a realistic person. I tend to be realistic personally. I hope things will get better, and I believe that they can. But I think we always have to be prepared because things might not. Laviana says, I'm realistic too. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, from my perspective, in my opinion, it's a good way to be. Some people are too optimistic. They believe everything will be amazing. And that's nice, but sometimes things aren't. So I think sometimes we have to be prepared for things to be, well, perfect. So we have a word that's in the bottom, at the bottom of this reading. The more positive situations and outcomes you will attract. Rosa says, I am in the middle because when I'm too optimistic, things go wrong. I know. It happens that way very often. Usually when I think something will be perfect and amazing, it's terrible. Or when I think something will be terrible, I say, no, this is going to be bad. In the end, it turns out to be amazing. So sometimes my idea at the beginning is totally the opposite of the actual outcome, of the actual result. That was the word I wanted to talk about next. Valeria says, I'm realistic, very down to earth, reasonable. But sometimes I can be very pessimistic. Yeah. I know. It depends on the day for me. It depends how much coffee I drink. It depends how much sleep I get. Usually when I'm tired, I'm more pessimistic. But when I'm really alert, I feel really good. I have, a good lunch. I have a nice coffee after lunch. I feel really happy. And I feel optimistic. I don't know. It's strange. But yeah, really good use of that expression, of that adjective, down to earth. A down to earth person. So, humble is another way we could look at that. Humble or modest. I mean, kind of the same thing. Of course, at the very end, we have the word outcome. Maybe you are familiar with the word. Maybe you know it, maybe not. The word outcome is the same as a result. Okay. Nice. Moving on to the next slide. I think we got everything we could out of these words. Let's look at this. The power of thought. Very, very strong. Let's look at these pictures. These objects here. Maybe you know the word, maybe not. Just in case, I will tell you they are called gears. These circle objects. So inside your brain, you have your gears are turning. Your gears are turning, that means you are thinking and your brain is working. Gears come from the car. Inside the car, you have the transmission and you change as you're driving. Right, you change first gear, second gear, third gear. The gears inside of a car. Cool. So as to discuss the following questions. Number 1, do you think that changing your perspective from negative to positive can have an effect on people's lives? Why or why not? You are free to write your answer in the chat below. Say what you think about this. In the meantime, I'll talk to you a little bit about what I think about it, because there's a delay between the answers. But I'll give you some time to think of a response to this question. Do you think that changing your perspective from negative to positive can have an effect on people's lives? Why or why not? Absolutely. Yes. It can have an effect on your life, but also the life of other people. If you are pessimistic all the time, always, to me, I think it has a discouraging effect on other people, rather than encouraging them. Just one perspective of this idea. You are free to write your opinions if you want in the bot. Number 2, in what ways would you have to change your mental attitude to get what you want in life, according to positive thinking? What would you focus or concentrate on? Interesting answer. Interesting question, I mean. To me, I would say this. Laviana, thank you for your answer. Let's see. I think the first one is true. I've started to think more positive about the future in these days, even if it's difficult. And this helps me dealing with the quarantine. I know. Yeah. Anything to help, because with this quarantine, we're just inside and waiting to see what happens. But I heard good news from China, in that the numbers are going down. I think in China, the numbers of people infected are going down. So some good news like that helps to lift us, give us a little encouragement to deal with it. Yeah. And the form of the word positive, we would say to think more positively, using an adverb. But otherwise, perfect example, Leviana. Thank you for that. Very good. Because I think I'll show you a word. Maybe you are familiar with it. Maybe not. To be pessimistic, to be negative about a situation, I believe is counterproductive, and which means it has the opposite effect of what you want. To be negative cannot produce a positive result. So I think we need to stay optimistic. When it comes to, let's see, okay, Rosa, personally, changing perspective means that we are thinking about our life or what is happening around us. So absolutely important. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Great answer. Thank you very much for these. So now, talking about question number 2, about changing your life, what would you focus or concentrate on? My idea is generally like this, my personal concept. I would say this. I would make big goals for the future, but break them down. Break down the big goals into smaller goals and focus on those. But give myself a time frame a deadline to reach my goals and stay positive about my goals, saying that I can achieve the bigger goals by focusing on the smaller ones that lead to the big goals. So this is a philosophy that some people agree with. I think it's pretty good. So of course, we're using a phrasal verb here, which is to break down. To break something down is to divide it into smaller pieces. Number 3 says, is the notion of positive thinking dangerous in any way? Are there any consequences to people believing that optimism can change their lives? Of course, to me, the only danger is being too optimistic and not being prepared for negative results that could happen, right? So that could be quite devastating for someone. All right, let's talk about some of these phrasal verbs. To think of, to think out, to think over, to think through, and to think up. Crazy phrases. Just changing the preposition and we have a different meaning. Always using the word thinking with your mind. But to think of something is to consider the possibility of something. If someone gives you a suggestion about finding a new car, did you think of checking eBay? No, I hadn't thought of that. Or I didn't think of that. I will never think of that. It's to consider the possibility of doing something. To think out is to prepare or plan something fully before you start doing it. It's similar to think through. I need to think out all of the possible scenarios, all the possible outcomes or results. Think over, to consider something carefully before deciding. If you receive an invitation for a holiday, my friend comes to me and says, "Hi, I would like to plan a holiday together with some friends in September." Okay, I have to think it over. I have to think it over first before I give you an answer. So to think over is to keep it on your mind. Process the information. Right? Think through, to consider something carefully with all the possible consequences. So yeah, think through and think out are very similar. Personally, I always say think through. I don't say think out. For me, think through. If you need to apologize because you did something stupid, say, "Sorry, I didn't think it through." If you make a mistake and say, "Oh, why? Why did this happen?" Well, I'm sorry, I didn't think it through. Before you take action, make a big change in your life, you need to really think it through to see what may happen if I do this, or what might happen if I do this. think about different outcomes, right? And to think up, to create something using our imagination. Something new. I thought up a new story. So, I hope these verbs are interesting for you. Let me know if you have any questions on understanding the differences between them, or if you want me to make another example. Sure, happy to do that. Cool. If you want me to return to this slide, it's okay. I can do that. For now, we can move on and talk about some expressions with the mind, the brain, or the mind. So we're going to decide whether these phrases use the word brain or the word mind. So, brainstorm. Thinking about things, right? State of mind. Pick someone's brain. Take your mind off something. Rack your brain. It means like to shake. Shake your brain. Rack your brain. And make up your mind. So one of these is to obtain information by questioning someone who is better informed on a subject. Interesting. This, we use the phrase to pick someone's brain. Do you mind if I pick your brain? Basically, if I ask you questions to get information for something. To make a decision, we'll say to make up your mind. We can use this as an imperative. If somebody is very slow to make a decision, I don't know what to do. Make up your mind. Decide yes or no. A group discussion to produce ideas. We use this often in the school. That's brainstorming. Aha. Your mood or mental state at a particular time. So the part of the answer is here. State. Your state of mind. I need to wait before I make a decision. I need to think it over. And I need to make my decision when I'm in a good state of mind. Make decisions when you're in a good state of mind. Oh, that your should be you are. Anyway, in my example. Number 5 is to make a great effort and really, really try to think of or remember something. I'm racking my brain. I can't remember his name. Can't remember her name. I'm racking my brain. And the last one, to make you stop thinking or worrying about something. I need to take my mind off of this. To be honest, what's the meaning of rack? Rack is to shake. Like this. Racking. I listen to music to take my mind off of my problems. So does that answer your question, Lavinia? Hopefully that answers your question. Racking, like shaking. Okay. So, really good phrases here that we can use to pick someone's brain. Pick information. Take something from someone's brain. Laviana, thanks so much. You're welcome. No problem. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of times, some people can be indecisive. They don't know to stay or to go, to buy this car or to buy this car, to move, change your job or not change your job. One day you must make up your mind. You have to make the final decision and say what you want to do. And brainstorming different ideas can help you with that. But when you finally make your decision and make up your mind, you want to be in a good state of mind so you make a good decision. To do that, you might need to take your mind off of some problems by listening to music or doing something to help you concentrate, focus on your job or your task, to take your mind off of other things, and racking your brain to try to remember something. So I'll give you about a minute left. I'll give you some time to, if any other questions come in, we can. Otherwise, that finishes the lesson for today. That finishes the stream. We talked about all of our idioms, all of our phrases, our sayings. We talked about a few phrasal verbs as well. I'll leave this up here to remember it. If anyone wants to use take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot as well to remember these. But also, if you want to go back and listen to something again, of course, this broadcast is recorded, so you can watch it again if you prefer that, to see some of the other phrases we used, to see it again. Otherwise, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope everyone stays safe and stays positive and optimistic as we're waiting in this quarantine situation. I'll salute you. Goodbye in the chat. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. You had some interesting new phrases and new ways to use some of the words in different forms today. Thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.